Hi there. Welcome to Stars Will Align. Think of this like sitting around the cauldron with me. But instead of potions, we're working with timing, energy, and a little bit of cosmic insight. This is the audio companion to my Cosmic Cauldron newsletter, where I break down the week ahead through astrology, human design, and gene keys. Plus, a little tarot, psychic downloads, and whatever else decides to show up. Nothing here is random. There are patterns to all of this. So this is your weekly check-in with the collective energy. What's shifting, what's activating, and how to actually move with it. Let's see what this week has in store. Hello, and welcome to this week's transit report. Coming at you a little bit late as we just moved through Memorial Day and Memorial Day weekend. And so I hope you all had a wonderful holiday. I hope you had time to rest and restore. And I'm also sending so much love and comfort and support to anyone listening who might have lost someone in the line of active duty. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm again playing around with this, trying to make it even shorter. So please, if you are listening to it this week, let me know how it goes. Let me know how you like it. So let's get into the tarot this week. First, we got this card. It's okay. You're not supposed to be doing anything right now. And you know, I feel like we've gotten this card a lot since I started doing this. And I think that that's because overall, in like the bigger picture sense of things, we are moving toward a time of more trust, more embodiment, more flow. And we are leaving behind this more archaic approach to life that comes from the mind, that comes from control, hyper productivity, always do. And so just to kind of dig into that a little deeper, you know, doing isn't always the solution. So sometimes you could be doing too much. And sometimes the most productive thing that you can do is nothing at all. Especially if you feel like you're scattered in so many different directions this week, it could be a time to just stop and just sit and just stare at a wall, maybe do some meditation. You know, I keep kind of bringing that up over and over again, but just create some stillness and some silence for that clarity to come through. The second card we got was the Two of Wands. And you know, something that I love about this card, the funny version that I have anyway, is that, you know, the guy is holding on to one of the wands and then he's holding the earth in his other hand. And he's saying, is that fucking Russia? As he's looking out, you know, as he's looking out on the beyond into the land ahead, he is charting his course. This card to me represents when you are looking ahead at something that you might be considering doing or committing to, a path that you might be considering committing to, and it seems so big and insurmountable. And so the message of this card is like one tiny action, right? One tiny thing that's going to push you forward. You hold the world in your hands, right? The world is your oyster. Also, this card is a sign that you have outgrown where you're at right now and that you're ready to expand, which is so perfect with this coming Sagittarius full moon, where we're talking about that. We're talking about going on the journey and committing to a path and expanding. And so this is a card that's saying like, yes, you are expanding from where you are right now, and that it's basically time to make a decisive choice, commit to the path, and that, you know, if you do, things could be highly favorable time for you to move forward in a certain direction. And then the last card we got is Ribwort Plantain. And this one is about I'll just read the description to you. So, ribwort plantain grows near houses. Travelers used to call it the Earth Star, thanks to the shape of its leaves, and because when they saw it, they knew they were finally close to an inhabited area. A lenitive, nourishing plant, it is perfect both in yummy soups and in cough syrups. A plant with small and flavorsome seeds. It reminds us to pay attention to the small things in life, the simple things that we sometimes take for granted. Look for the wonder in the everyday is the message behind this card. Something that this card reminds me of is that sometimes, you know, it does take that boring, monotonous, repetitive things to get to the end goal, right? Like that's always kind of the lesson, is that in order to reach for these big visionary dreams, it does take the small everyday actions to get there. And I think that if you can find a way to really ritualize that, you will have, it's almost like a trick for the dopamine center in the brain. Like the more that you can ritualize the monotonous in your life, the more it becomes enjoyable, and the more that it becomes effortless because you are genuinely enjoying it. And then the more that you move through these things with more excitement and fun and passion and creativity. So one thing that really sticks out to me at the beginning of the week is that we have a square to Pluto, and then we have a trine to Pluto. So Mars is going to be squaring Pluto, and then the sun is going to be trining Pluto. So this is definitely this fixed pressure cooker, because whenever we have a square, first of all, we're talking about the square, we have like kind of like this stubborn pressure cooker energy. Both are stubborn about different things. You know, Pluto in Aquarius is stubborn about the transformation of humanity, and Mars in Taurus is stubborn about steady movement, tangible progress, security, embodiment, consistency. Squares always create friction, so you could be feeling frustrated. You could see some power struggles come up, some feelings of being blocked, some urge to push, realizing that you're forcing something, maybe noticing your attachments to things. But then also with the sun trine Pluto coming in, it makes it a little bit empowered, right? Because then we have the light shining on all of the things that we know, all of the information out there. And then trining to that Pluto thing is like, oh, okay, here's the awareness, right? It's very, I can see this now. Then we also have the sun and earth moving into 16 and 9. Mars moving into 24, Mercury moving into 15. So very much we're going to be feeling more enthusiastic, trying to master our skills through practice. We're going to need more focus and concentration. This is also going to be a time where we're mentally returning to things, rationalizing things, contemplating things. And then with 15, there brings some extremes, some rhythm, and some humanity. So the mind can be very busy this week. There could be a lot of loops, a lot of revisiting decisions, a lot of replaying conversations, a lot of the mind trying to figure things out. So be careful of overthinking, overanalyzing things, trying to mentally solve things that actually are more emotional or need to be felt. Perfectionism, hyper-focusing, bouncing between different extremes. I would say that what we could really be honing in on this week is devotion, refinement, finding your own unique rhythm, and building your unique skills. This week feels very like, again, like ridding yourself of the noise and asking yourself what deserves your attention. Because right now Uranus is in Gemini, so there could be a lot of scattered thinking and mental chaos. So how do we direct that Gemini intelligence into something meaningful to us? Also this week we have Venus in Cancer squaring Saturn in Aries, Venus moving into 39 and Mercury moving into 12. So Venus in Cancer, you know, she wants closeness, she wants safety, she wants softness, she wants reassurance, she wants belonging. Sometimes she can be a bit codependent. But Saturn in Aries, where that square is happening, wants boundaries, responsibility, maturity, individuation, commitment to self. So you might notice, you know, where you need to kind of emotionally distance yourself from people, maybe where your unmet needs are becoming so loud you can't ignore them anymore. You might be really aware of that codependency, right? Like that tension between depending on others versus that sovereignty of like having your own back, being a little bit more independent about your own emotional needs, especially. Also, some fears around vulnerability could be coming up with this one. And you might ask yourself, you know, why am I craving reassurance so much? And then with Venus moving into 39, that's going to bring, again, a little bit more of this provocative vibe to it, some emotional triggers, some things poking at you. And so literally taking some time to be silent with those things that are poking and prodding at you and ask yourself, you know, what is being revealed here? What maybe desire is being blocked? What values are being diminished? And with Mercury going into 12, this also adds some, carefulness when it comes to like how you express yourself or how you say these things, these revelations that are coming to you. So it's not about saying everything immediately or having this like verbal word vomit. It's about feeling it first and then speaking it more intentionally. And then we get to the full moon at the end of the week. So, with all of this, emotional and mental intensity, Sagittarius full moon is going to have us zooming way out to the bigger picture. And we're going to be able to see, where have we been getting trapped in small thinking? Where have we made, temporary discomfort into an entire worldview? Sagittarius is going to ask us to bring our truth to the table. Sagittarius craves freedom and movement. So when we talk about the shadow of Sagittarius, we're talking about, resisting commitment, avoiding emotional discomfort by just staying positive, spiritual bypassing, chasing the next thing instead of staying grounded in the current thing. Having maybe some lofty beliefs that are a bit egoic, being a bit preachy instead of listening, committing to too many different things. There's not usually a collapse with Sagittarius, it's more of an external escape. It's more like when things get overwhelming, Sagittarius will just add even more to their to-do list. So you might be more clear about what you've been avoiding, or maybe where you're being a bit dogmatic instead of being a truth seeker, where your future focus is actually disconnecting you from the present moment, right? Like the Two of Wands card. How can you stay committed to the one small thing right in front of you? What needs to be grounded so that way this expansion that's being called from you can actually happen, that you can actually give yourself the capacity to expand. Some of the fears that the shadow of Sagittarius is trying to protect us from is feeling trapped or limited, fear of feeling our emotions or our pain or our discomfort, and also fear of uncertainty, like not knowing where we're going. But the true freedom isn't in escapism, right? It's being present with it, so that way we can create the space by staying present with the discomfort. Because if not, that's always going to be there in the background, and eventually we're going to burn out from it.